He turned on the radio by chance, but the voice that came through wasn't just a song. It was a memory, a heartbreak, and a love he thought he'd lost forever. Riyan Kapoor, a 35-year-old CEO of a global tech firm, sat silently in the back seat of his luxury car. His life was a whirlwind of board meetings, stock prices, and endless travel. But today, something in him felt off. He told his driver to take the long route home, just to breathe. As the car moved through the quiet city lanes, Riyan rolled down the window and, on impulse, tuned into the local FM radio. It was something he hadn't done in years. A song was playing, software, familiar. Then the music faded, and a voice came on. Soft, warm, with a touch of laughter between words. That was Ajpi, one of those songs that makes you think about people you never quite let go of, right? Riyan froze. That voice. It wasn't just familiar. It was unforgettable. It was Aisha, the girl who once sat next to him in college, notebook full of poetry, eyes full of dreams. The girl who believed in him before anyone else did. The girl he broke when he chose ambition over love. He leaned forward, stunned. Was it really her? The RJ continued. This is Aisha on air, and tonight we're talking about love that didn't get a happy ending. Riyan's heart pounded. He whispered to himself, it's really her. But why was she here? And was her voice just part of a show or a message meant for him? The rest of the drive felt like a blur. Riyan sat there, motionless, as Aisha's voice filled the car. She read letters from strangers, recited poetry that tugged at his soul, and shared small pieces of her heart, pieces he once held in his hands and let slip away. Sometimes, she said softly on air, we don't lose people because they stop loving us. We lose them because they never knew how to love us back in time. That line hit Riyan like a punch to the chest. Back in college, Aisha was his calm in chaos. While he chased internships and stock tips, she taught music to street kids and dreamed of starting her own radio station. He admired her, but always told himself love could wait, until she stopped waiting. They ended on a rainy evening, when she stood outside his apartment holding a handwritten letter, and he chose to walk away without opening it. Now, years later, that same voice, more graceful, more grounded, was being broadcast across the city, speaking truths he never had the courage to face. Riyan couldn't rest. That night, he pulled out an old box from his closet, the one he hadn't touched in years. Inside were photographs, scribbled song lyrics Aisha once slipped into his notebooks, and at the bottom, the unopened letter. His hands trembled as he finally broke the seal. If one day you hear my voice somewhere unexpected, I hope it reminds you not of what you lost, but of what you still might find if you dare to look. That wasn't just a goodbye. It was a challenge. And Riyan? He wasn't about to let the past stay buried anymore. The next morning, Riyan walked into his office, but his mind wasn't on deals or deadlines. It was on her, on the voice that shook him awake. He had access to the best resources in the country. Tech, data, connections. Finding Aisha should have been easy, but she didn't want to be found. The radio station wouldn't reveal her full identity. She doesn't take visitors, the receptionist said. She prefers her privacy. Even the address listed led to a shared recording studio. No home, no trail. Frustrated but not defeated, Riyan drove back to their college campus. The music room still had her initials carved on the old bench. The librarian still remembered her. She used to sit right there, the old woman said, pointing to a corner window. Always writing, always humming. Later that evening, Riyan tuned into Aisha on air again. Some of us become ghosts in someone else's story, she said softly, but sometimes we haunt because we're hoping they'll finally look for us. He couldn't take it anymore. He pulled over, found the radio station's request line number, and dialed. "This is Riyan Kapoor. Please, just let her know I'm listening. Every night, and I'm sorry." He didn't expect a response. But the next night she said something new. "To the listener who once walked away before reading a letter, this time I hear you." No name. But he knew. And so did she. What she didn't know was that he was closer than ever, and he was about to show up. But he had no idea what would be waiting on the other side of that studio door. 2 days later, under a pale evening sky, Riyan stood outside the small independent radio station tucked behind a bookstore in South Mumbai. No cameras, no bodyguards. Just him, holding a folded letter in his hand. This time, written by him. He didn't know if she'd speak to him, but he had to try. Inside, Aisha had just finished her segment. Her headphones rested on the table, and her voice, gentle, steady, still echoed in the room's silence. She turned toward the glass door, sensing movement. And then, she saw him. For a second, time stopped. Her lips parted slightly, not in shock, but in something deeper. Recognition? Memory? Pain? Wonder? Riyan stepped in slowly, as if one wrong move would break the moment. "Hi," he said quietly. She looked at him, guarded. "Took you long enough." He smiled gently. "I had to learn how to listen, before I could really hear you." Aisha leaned back, arms crossed, not angry, but cautious. "Why are you here, Riyan?" He handed her the letter. "Because you wrote me one once, and I never had the courage to read it until now. This is mine." She unfolded it slowly, eyes scanning each word until they filled with tears. "I thought I had to choose between love and success, but the truth is, without you, success never felt like anything at all. I don't expect to rewrite our story. I just want the chance to turn the page, with you in it." Aisha looked up, her walls trembling. "Do you still run from things when they matter too much?" she asked. He shook his head. "Not anymore. This time I ran toward the voice I couldn't live without." She didn't answer, but she reached for his hand. And in that quiet studio, beneath the soft hum of silence, a second chance began. Not with grand promises, but with something even stronger. Understanding. Because sometimes the heart finds its way back, not through noise, but through a voice it was always meant to hear.